This video is not to introduce new spiritual movies. This video is especially not about spiritual movies per se, because for spiritual people, spiritual movies can be very emotional pushing, which can also be kind of a distraction. But instead, this video is to overcome distraction, for example, from entanglement from the outer world, and to calm the mind to finally find back to the meditation, to the contemplation. And when sometimes the entanglement on the outer world was so heavy in a day, after a work day, for example, it can be that we can't find back to ourselves, that we can't calm. And for that, movies are good, but in the right amount and the right genres. Additionally, books are good. For books, I have an extra video because when, for example, someone is over-entangled or over-distracted, overstimulated from the outer world, from entanglement, then it can be that some people have no concentration for books anymore. And that's why I also wanted to make this video about how to use movies in the right way to calm the mind. First of all, everyone can distract. Who's not in the full enlightenment, not full awakening? Every spiritual person can distract. And that's why I always say spiritual people instead of awakened people, because here's the difference and the failure, which many channels and YouTubers do. They say that we are already awakened. This is a big problem these days. Because if we were absolutely awakened, we wouldn't need movies anymore. We wouldn't distract anymore. We have phases of being almost enlightened and of being in an absolute delightful mood. But we have also phases in the downward spiral. And that's what this channel is about, because people on the path to the full awakening go steps forward, like a baby who is learning to go, and then they fall back on the back. Then they stand up again. And so it works on the spiritual path. And for these back falls, when the meditation doesn't work, when we feel distracted, when we were too much entangled with the outer world, sometimes we need even help from the material world. And for this case, movies can help. It depends on the movie, it depends on the genre, it depends on the time, it depends even on your personal characteristic, and it depends how much you are distracted at that moment. Basically, I think that people who watch videos like this, channels like this, are not of the habit anymore to distract themselves with the phone, with the TV, and distract too much, but instead it's only from the entanglement on work or on what we have to do, these necessary things in everyday life where we have to entangle with the outer world. And here it can be that overthinking starts, or that emotions are too strong and we can't handle them anymore, and meditation doesn't work. And the only reason to watch movies is to calm the mind that we can find to the meditation. Only calming the mind is the reason why a spiritual person should use movies. And now it comes to the movies and to the genres. Always the most sensitive first. Some of you already know which amount is good, or how heavy the movie can be, or how reduced, how calm the movie can be in which situation. And it's not about exchanging negative emotions with positive ones, because this doesn't work. When a person is too much full of emotions, negative ones from the work or something, and adds more positive emotions, in most cases they don't exchange the negative ones. Sometimes this works, but many times it doesn't work. And so this person then is over emotional at the end. That's why I say not the heaviest movies first, but always try to figure out which movie is fitting, which soft movie, which documentary, fantasy movie. But I will go deeper into that in a minute. If you are not able to know what is fitting right now to the distraction, to the consciousness state, which is actually working in you now, when it is too much distracted, or it's only less distracted, very little only, then a documentary is enough. And most people know what is fitting, but if you are not yet knowing that, you can use this video and make a list for you. And afterwards, you can sort your movies in folders, or if you still have DVD or something, you can sort your movies not by the normal genre, but by how heavy it is, how much it will distract. And what is also important is the length of the movie. I'm talking here now from long movies, because shorts and short movies will entangle the emotions even more and will distract even more. But this video, as I said, is to calm the mind and to find back finally to the meditation, or minimum, first of all, to sleep. And after the sleep, after waking up, then the next day can start calm, and the next day is better, and a movie is not needed, hopefully, in the next days. So let's come to the genres now. The thing is that already funny movies and action movies are in most cases too much. After a normal working day, when this person is not too much distracted, is not in too many negative emotions, or even not in any emotion, then, as I already mentioned it, documentaries are pretty well. You can find any. The most boring is actually the best for spiritual people, because they calm most. Sometimes you need a little bit kind of thrill, not as much thrill as the normal people, but kind of thrill. What is thrill already for a spiritual person? Because spiritual people are so much sensitive, and thrill is already when you learn something new in a documentary. But mostly when I want to relax, I take just a documentary about nature, not about learning something, just to enjoy the nature of a different country, just to watch the biology, the animals, and especially the plants. That is the most calm thing for me. But sometimes, if I'm tired, for example, after work, and this is too boring, this is not, my aim is not to fall asleep with the movie. I want to watch the movie till the end, so I must take a little bit more thrill. And then I take a documentary about learning something new. For example, last week I wanted to know about sugar, how much sugar makes our brains addicted. And so I watched this documentary about sugar. And what I also can recommend is something with a storyline, but not as hard as action or drama or as thriller or as what adults watch. Just take things which are maximum on USK 12, maximum recommended for children until 12. Because everything what starts from 16 is more or less for adults and is already too much distracting, too heavy, too emotional. And things until 12 must not be boring. Many fantasy movies are till 12 or something, and they have a very interesting storyline. Sometimes even there comes a point, and until the point one thinks a certain thing, and suddenly at this point comes a change, and the whole sense and the whole storyline has a turn, and something very essential happens. And additionally, you can also find deeper meanings, deeper truths in fantasy movies or in any kind of children movies. Example, in Narnia, the lion represents can, it's not a must. But one priest told me you can watch Narnia with the view of the passion of Christ in the lion. The figure, the lion was like, he's the Christ and he had to die. And you can use it as analogy for Jesus' passion way. But this was just an example a priest told me. It's interesting. And so you can also watch and see deeper meanings in such movies. If you like, of course, and if it's fitting. You can also just watch it very relaxed, only the surface story, which is for children. And even movies which are not only for 12, but even movies which are for 6 years old and for 0. There are many cartoons and other children movies which are pretty interesting and which have a storyline which can be very intensively, but it can also be of relaxing storyline. It depends. If you say, okay, such a big and heavy storyline with deeper meanings is too much, then even movies for the age of 12 are too much that day. If you like it more relaxed, you take a movie which is for young children until 6 and just watch a cartoon, but a long one. which has also storyline, but the easier one. It's a paradox, actually. As child or as youth, I was always striving for the movies which I was not allowed for, like for 16, 18 in best case. But since I shifted to the spiritual life, I live the opposite. Now I'm watching movies for children and not for adults anymore. And so that's the best way to not distract. But it can happen when there is a day where you are so over emotional because things happen in work and people blame you for something and you feel guilty for no reason, only because some people are against you or other things happen in your everyday life, then you need heavier movies. And then it starts from action. And here also there are differences if it's only a car race or these car movies, or if there are weapons involved even. But for some spiritual people, you don't want to see weapons. Most spiritual people are pacifists. So action movies with weapons, it's not possible. More science fiction is also a great thing here. Science fiction, of course, is available also without weapons, just on, AI computers. So not the movies made by AI, that's a different thing. I mean that in the movies, the computer fighting against the human mind or something like that. But also comedy and laughing is pretty well. Even laughing causes much positive emotions, which can, as I said earlier, not be a replacement. Sometimes it depends. You must look after your mood and how heavy is the thing people or the entanglement has brought you. Comedy is even also available for the USK 12. Yeah, so you can find comedy for all ages. And whatever you like and whatever you think is fitting on that day for you, you just take. Action, comedy. Then it comes to drama. Drama is, as the word already says, a little more dramatic. I would prefer action earlier as calmer. Even in action can be more of action and can be more impressive. But drama is more going on the mental level, causing a drama, causing social problems, causing emotional problems. That's why I say drama more behind. Better is to prefer to try an action movie, which has also drama involved, but not too heavy. But if you take a more dramatic movie, which is a full drama, which thrills already with drama, then it is more going in direction of thriller, which is of course for the worst case. And at the end of the genres, I have thrillers and horror movies. Here it depends. I think horror movies are even calmer. There is even a genre called horror comedy existing, where it's more funny and it's not so thrilling, but it's more funny to see the costumes and to see the people who are playing this horror movie, and it's more made of for fun and to laugh. And the real horror movie is more intensively, but the most craziest thing is horror thriller, where both is combined. I think that's the heaviest thing for me. It can also be different for you. This was not a perfect genre list which counts for everyone. It is adjustable. And you must also look after your personal characteristic. Some other people say, okay, thriller doesn't thrill them so much. For them, for example, comedy is more entangling and it's more distracting. So they set comedy at the end of the line. So it's very different. It's up to your personal characteristic and it's up to the consciousness state, how much it is distracted at that time. And that's why I say the best thing is you sort your movies, because when you're already distracted, it can happen that you are not even able to make a choice for the right movie. So that's why it is good to have it sorted earlier, all your movies, that you have a folder or some folders where it is sorted by heaviest, middle, and calmest, that in that moment to choose the right folder, and out of the folder you take a movie. Then it's not so over challenging to make the choice already for the right movie in the right time when the emotions are too strong or something, and you just need something but not too heavy. You can also say, okay, when the emotions are strong, I take just the over heaviest folder. But here is the problem. When you are in a work, for example, where you are bullied, where you are blamed each and every day, and when you from the very first day start with the heaviest movie, you will have problems the next day and the next day and the next day, because there is nothing to increase anymore then. Then you are already over distracted and overstimulated. And that's why I made this video. It is on the one hand good to distract with the movies from your own movie, from the normal ego life, the normal perception, the normal entanglement, to come out first of all. But the main goal is to find back to the meditation, to something higher. But it will never happen when someone over distracts, even not only in the work but then in the free time. And then you just end up like the normal people, the non-meditators, and that's not good. That's why I say always try the most calmest movie you can, and which is fitting. But when it's too boring, then you take the next step. You take another choice of the next folder, which is not that calm, which is like of this USK 12 children movie or youth movie. But it can also be that sometimes action can be there, comedy, but you try to avoid these heaviest things, like thriller or horror thriller or something. This is only to have still something left, to have still left open the heaviest choice for the worst case, and not start with the worst case solution at the first day. Otherwise, all other movies will appear boring for you. But then there is one genre left, which I have left extra. And this is the spiritual movies. Because for spiritual people, spiritual movies are over distracting. Because we love spiritual movies and they are causing so many emotions, positive ones, which is good and which is for distracting good. But what I just said, when you start with the most distracting thing at the very beginning, after the first day of a silly job or something, then the next day you have nothing to increase. Maybe another such movie, and the third day another such movie, spiritual movie. But one day there is no movie anymore, and you have seen already all of your movies of this genre, and then there is no, because a spiritual movie is for spiritual people, what is a horror thriller for all people or normal people. It's too much thrilling, it's too much full of emotions. And that's a danger. And that's why I would set even spiritual movies after the action and drama, but before the horror thriller still. But not at the very beginning, only to distract. It's too much. I was also on the wrong path right after I went on the spiritual path. I was loving these spiritual movies and I was watching them too much. And then this entanglement on the outer world was even heavier because suddenly the outer world appeared too boring for me. Meditation was not possible anymore. Of course, because I was over distracted and overstimulated with the spiritual movies, and that's a danger. And that's also another purpose of this video, that you know that there is a danger in watching too much spiritual movies or too many of them. What is your experience with the spiritual movies? Which other genres do you like in which situations? To distract or just to calm? And how often do you still watch movies? Let us know down below in the comments. Have a good day. See you soon. Bye.